and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel, guys. And coming up for you today, we've got a big video. This is a big one because we're going to be discussing the most desirable player in football right now. It is Borussia Dortmund's Erling Haaland, and we are going to be figuring out whether realistically, when you put all the numbers together, this summer, can Barça really sign him? It is all coming right up, so let's get to it. And this is a video that for me, guys, is a very, very exciting one to make. And I feel like given the fact that we have heard so much speculation, the time has come to make it very, very early on. We haven't even got near the summer yet. But since Laporta has arrived at the club as our new president, Erling Haaland's name has been one that has been dominating the media when it comes to Barça. And for us fans right now, especially given our lack of a clinical touch against PSG, the amount of chances that we missed in that game, it reinforced our desire to bring in this summer a top quality centre-forward. And what better man to bring in right now than the 20-year-old Norwegian star, Erling Haaland. Because as you will have seen very recently there in the midweek just gone, Erling Haaland became the fastest and the youngest player ever to reach 20 Champions League goals. Haaland there hit that landmark after just 14 games. He hit 20 goals in the Champions League in just 14 appearances, and he did all this before his 21st birthday. And I think against Sevilla in both of those legs, as we've seen in previous games from him too, just demonstrating everything that he's about. He has there a winning mentality. He's got everything you would want from a centre-forward, and exactly like I alluded to there, Haaland for me is the very definition of clinical, and you can see where he'd fit right in at Barcelona. And this video right here today comes off the back of reports in the Spanish media where there is serious momentum building after both recently Cat Radio, Marca, a number of sources reporting there that Laporta is so determined to really try and get Haaland. He's not saying that he's definitely going to bring him in. We're not guaranteeing here that we're going to make a move and be successful. But Laporta has outlined Haaland as our number one priority, the big target. But like I say, can we get him? Because what I have to do first of all is be completely transparent here and look, show both sides. Because yes, Haaland is a dream signing for many of us fans, but I'm going to start here by saying we cannot ignore, and we should not ignore, our financial situation right now. We are all aware that Laporta has come into this club. He's got a big mess to clean up. We are currently 1.2 billion in debt, which, as I'm sure we're all aware, is a significant figure indeed. It's a serious situation. There is no getting away from that. But does that figure there, does that level of debt mean that this summer we can't sign Haaland? We can't make a big signing? For me, no, it doesn't. Because debt in football is actually quite a common thing. Because many other clubs, particularly there at the very top level, they find themselves in debt too. Real Madrid are in debt. Atletico Madrid have been in debt for years. And they've still made some big signings. And even there's somebody like Manchester United. They're a club there that generate an enormous amount of money there through their fan base. But even they, as a club, are in debt. So what I'm saying is, being in debt there, it's not just us. We're not in isolation there. Admittedly, that's a big figure. We are more in debt and much more than many other clubs. And of course, that does have to be addressed. But now with the pandemic, there are so many clubs going through the same sort of situation, suffering because of not having fans, especially inside of stadiums. And it's not going to mean that this summer, all the big transfers are going to come to a stop. Because in football, you cannot afford to fall behind. Which brings us there onto the transfer fee itself. Let's start right there, because as of right now, it is being reported widely so that Erling Haaland will have a release clause in his contract that will, at some stage, become active. Now, that release clause there is reportedly around 80 million euros. That is not 100% confirmed, but apparently that's not going to become active until the summer of 2022. So this summer, Haaland there is unlikely to have any release clause, which means that Dortmund, they have a lot more strength there in their negotiating position, and you would expect them, therefore, to demand well over 100 million euros. However, things do get a little bit interesting when you look at Dortmund's Champions League qualification situation right now, because they currently lie 6th in the Bundesliga. They're 4 points away from the top 4 as it stands, with 10 games to go, and you just wonder there, should Dortmund fail to qualify for the Champions League next season, what would that do to players like Haaland, to players like Sancho? Not only there would those players not want to miss out on the Champions League for a season, they wouldn't be happy there to be playing in the Europa League, but you also wonder there what Dortmund would be forced into doing with that loss of revenue if they didn't qualify there in the top 4. That could force their hand, and that could make it interesting. But of course, when you're speaking there about the transfer fee, when you're talking about the amount that Dortmund will want, that will certainly there be increased and increased and increased simply because of the demand. Because Barcelona are 100% not the only club interested. There is going to be a host of clubs right across Europe. If you can afford this man, you will try and get him because he's that good. And I'm talking there about Real Madrid. I personally believe that Kylian Mbappe is still the man that they want long term. I don't believe they are going to go all out for Haaland, although I think certainly he would help them in their current situation. But for me, Mbappe is where their loyalty lies. You've also got to throw into the equation Bayern Munich. I don't quite see them making a move this summer. Of course, they would be looking right now and thinking, okay, that would be the perfect replacement when the time comes for Lewandowski. But that time is not quite here yet, and I couldn't see Haaland joining them this summer. And then you've got the Premier League teams. You've got teams there who've been linked to Haaland, like Chelsea, somebody with outstanding backing there from Roman Abramovich. Thomas Tuchel has done an absolutely brilliant job so far with them, but I'm not really sure that I can see Haaland ending up at Chelsea. You've got Man United, the link there with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but again, I'm not really sure right now in his career, would that be the right move to go there for a team who still aren't competing at the very, very top level? But for me, by far and away our biggest competitor, and I would say right now they would be among the favourites. To land Haaland, it has to be Man City. Because this summer, Pep is actively seeking out a centre-forward. We know they have the firepower in terms of their financial situation. They're one of the state-backed clubs. And also, Haaland's father used to play for Manchester City. However, there is a bit more to this story, because I actually want to bring you a quote from Haaland's dad, because actually, speaking in March of last year, he said the following when talking about where his son could play when he does eventually leave Borussia Dortmund. He said, "We've been linked to more than 100 teams." He said, "But it's true, the Spanish league is a very good league for my son because it has great teams." He said, "You never know if he will play in Spain. What has to happen will happen," which is a very, very interesting statement there when it comes to La Liga. However, it is not just about the transfer fee. If anything, that's probably the most straightforward part of the entire deal. Yes, it is going to be a big amount of money, but I believe that in the steps we're going to talk about, we can find the money. And as you know, with the transfer fee, it can always be paid there in installments. You can wrap it up with variables and all of that kind of stuff if you secure the right agreement. But for me, the biggest stumbling block about this deal, it comes in the wages. Because at the end of February, it was reported there in the media, and again, this is unconfirmed, but Haaland's wage demands apparently would be 90 million euros spread across 5 years. Which would mean there that coincidentally, Haaland would be looking at a very similar deal than what Antoine Griezmann is currently earning at Barcelona, with a weekly wage there of around 350,000 euros, which would put him as the club's second highest earner behind Lionel Messi. And so would prompt the big question: how on earth do Barca, in their financial state right now, how do we even think about making this possible? And to be honest, the answer is with great difficulty. Because before you do anything this summer, whether you're talking about Haaland, whether you're talking about other signings, first thing you got to do is sell some players. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2 players. I am talking there about a serious overhaul of the dead wood in our squad. I'm talking about 4, 5, 6, maybe even more players. Players there who've stagnated, who aren't really giving the club their money's worth. You need to make ruthless decisions this summer. And I truly believe that Laporta is going to do exactly that. Because as we discussed in yesterday's video, some of the big names, even though they are big names, they still need to go. Now, Sport right now is saying that Barca are willing to sell Junior Firpo, Pjanic, Coutinho, and Griezmann to fund Haaland, and that's what you have to do. You would have to sacrifice a serious amount of players, replace the majority of them with players from Barcelona B, which is certainly something that I'd be happy to do, and then, and only then, would you maybe have the money to try and get Haaland? There is, though, one more card that in particular our new president, Joan Laporta, he can play in this particular deal. Laporta's relationship, and this is crucial, with Haaland's agent, Mino Raiola. We know they are good friends. We know they've worked together in the past. We know that a deal can be done between the two of them. That's not the case for all teams. Not all teams here get on with Mino Raiola. And I think there's something really important here that I've got to stress. And it's something that I believe Laporta will do where the previous board have failed. Because when it comes down there to talks with Haaland's agent, and indeed the player themselves, what Laporta will have to do, and what he has done before with big signings, is sell them the club and not the money. Now, what I mean by that is instead there of tempting Haaland with a huge stack of money, with astronomical wages, and a massive bonus there for Raiola himself, which seems to be exactly what Bartomeu did with pretty much every big signing that he brought in at the club. But the problem with that is, you don't only end up in a mess financially, but we know that there are clubs out there, and plenty of them, who can offer Haaland more money. That is something there that we do not have an unlimited supply of, which is why what you have to do is sell him the club. Laporta goes in there face to face with Raiola and he explains step by step the sporting project. He explains there the ambitions, the objectives, and our plan to compete for every trophy that is up for grabs. And in terms of size, in terms of history, it doesn't get bigger than Barcelona. Players want to come and play for Barcelona and Real Madrid too. That is quite simply a fact. And you straight up tell Haaland there that you've got the opportunity here to come and play alongside Lionel Messi, to play there with the greatest ever, alongside him, learn from him, and not only that, but in a few years' time, you can be the face of this team. You can lead Barcelona forward. And if you put it to him there on a plate like that, you sell him there the history of this club. You sell him what it means to play in this shirt. Are you really telling me that Haaland's going to turn around there and say, you know what? I'd rather join Chelsea? I just don't see it. And it is going to be really, really interesting, guys, see what happens here over the coming weeks, over the coming months. There are going to be plenty of rumours. There are going to be plenty of discussions. But like I say, and I really do have to stress, what we got to do first is shift some of that dead wood. We cannot even think about paying big money, big wages, somebody there like Erling Haaland without going through that squad first, making room, trimming that wage bill, and finding there a sustainable model to move forward with. Then you can go out and try and get these deals done. I trust in Laporta. He's somebody who knows what he's doing. He's been in this position before. He knows how to sign these players. And if he believes that Haaland is the right fit at the right time, I honestly do believe, along with Man City, that Barcelona have a genuine chance of bringing him to the Camp Nou. So please, guys, do leave your thoughts in the comments down below. This was a pretty lengthy video, but what I wanted to do was go through it there in a lot of detail. It's not quite simply a yes or a no answer. There's a lot of things that are going to happen in between that certainly do need discussing and explaining. So please do let me know what you believe. Do you think that we have a chance of signing Haaland? Would you like to see him in a Barcelona shirt? Or do you see him ending up at another club this summer? Please let me know. All of that good stuff down below. I will see you soon, of course, with plenty more videos to come. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.